So the next point is on price. Always a fun topic. Right, so Moto Adventure Dual Sport says a new level of yuppie biking. Nice. Art Chambaud says, good machine. When it's 6 years old, I can afford it. If I want one. Probably not, though. Stafford Video Productions says, I can afford 8K, not 23K. And Isaisen says, impossibly beautiful, 35,000 euro in my country. Jeez.
Yes. I mean, the price is always going to be a bit of a sticking point. I think like the base model is about 15,995 now, but in terms of like the bikes they're giving out to the press that are fully spec'd up, there's like a $7,000 difference. So I've tried to mention that in every video quite clearly, that the bike that I've spec'd is, bike that I've borrowed is spec'd at like nearly 23,000. I don't know. It's hard to say whether that's worth it. All the bikes in that segment, you know, the Multistrada V4 starts at 16,995, I think, for the most basic version. The KTM 1290 Super Adventure S starts at 17.5. I think now this year it's gone up by £1,000 versus last year. The Tiger is more like 15,000, but even like the Pan America starts at the same sort of 16-ish as the GS, and then the Pan America Special is 17 or so. So I think it's not just BMW. This whole market is around that sort of price point now. And as to whether that's appropriate for the bikes, that's very hard to say, mate, isn't it? I mean, what do you think? Is that just like they're still selling huge volumes, the GS, so like surely it's not necessarily damaging it in any way, but it is crazy money, isn't it, really?
It's at its market. I mean, I've absolutely given up on justifying prices, on questioning prices. Prices are what they are, and it's, you know, if it didn't work, they wouldn't sell. There you go. That's as clean as it can be, right? Yeah. So obviously they've tested the market, and obviously they're still selling them. So I'm gutted because I'd love to have one for £1,000, but which is about all I can afford right now. But yeah, I think it compared to the rest of their market, I guess they're in the same sort of frame. And it is like flagship bike. When you're talking about the tech that's on these things as well, right? Yeah. They've thrown everything at this level of bike, right? If you want something a bit cheaper, then unfortunately you have to go for something a bit simpler. But there you go.
Personally, I would say my recommendation, if you want an adventure bike on a budget, I don't know. I can't really speak for like the long-term reliability.
An old Africa Twin.
Yeah, an old Africa Twin. Although you are somewhat biased. I've got an old Tiger 800, so I'd be somewhat biased towards that.
There you go.
No, obviously used bikes, you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck. But if you got your heart set on new for whatever reason, you prefer the confidence that a warranty gives you and all that stuff, I really think like the fact that the Tenere used to be £8,000 but is now up around the £10,000 mark, and it's still quite a basic bike, has made it. I mean, if you're off-roading, it's still a great choice, but it's made it less easy to just be the default recommendation for like an affordable adventure bike. Where I'm looking now is at the KTM 790 Adventure. It's a slightly smaller version of the 890, made out in China by CF Moto, but we've both been impressed by the build quality on the CF Motos. Like I say, I can't speak for long-term reliability, but effectively what you're getting is very near the capability of the 890 Adventure. It's also inherited some of the styling as well now, so it doesn't look quite as, uneasy on the eye. I think that for me, 790 Adventure is $10,500 now. Will do a lot for the money.
I think I agree with you. Yeah, going around Motorcycle Live, you're right. That's the one I could remember being like, oh yeah, no, decent price.
But yeah, sorry, I think like I agree on the big picture. It's just it depends on your financial means, and also depends on their pricing strategy, which I'm sure is like a whole department where they try and find the sweet spot between how much can we charge and how many bikes can we sell. But it does suck for your average biker, I think. Oh, and also, sorry, last thing on this, mate. I think over the last few years, prices were creeping up because people started financing their bikes and then just PCP them, pay a couple £100 a month for like a fancy bike like this. And then it gets to the end of its term and you just chop it in and get a new one. And that's quite exciting. And then you just pay a couple £100 a month for that. And in a way, it's not a terrible idea, especially if it helps cut down on your cost of commuting or whatever. But the interest rates now are phenomenal. And what used to be a £200 a month bike is now 3 or 4, maybe, I don't know, like £300 or something like that. It's like such a big step up. It's not, interest going up by a few percent. I think when it translates to the monthlies, it's actually quite a big difference. And so I think that's also, people are feeling the sort of prices of them now, even on those monthly levels. So I think it's tricky times at the moment for some people trying to sell bikes, but
just across the board, it's hard getting a weekly shopping.
Exactly.
Let alone getting a bike.